In 1987, beneath the floorboards of an abandoned farmhouse on the outskirts of Blackwood, they found it. A diary. Not one filled with recipes or love letters. No, this one held 3 names, 3 deaths, and a warning scrawled in jagged crimson letters. Never. Read the 4th entry. The first name, Michael Carter, January 12, 1963. 30 days later, he was dead. A heart attack, they said. But the diary told a darker story. The faceless man comes at midnight, it warned. He trades lives for silence. And once your name is written, you're already his. The second name, Sarah Whitmore, June 7, 1964. She drowned in Blackwood River. An accident, they claimed. But the diary hissed. She didn't slip. She was pulled. The water wasn't empty that night. The third entry? No name. Just a date, October 31, 1965. The night Eleanor Gray, the woman who wrote the diary, vanished. No body, no grave. Just a final sentence. The faceless man needs a new voice. For decades, the diary gathered dust. Until 3 nights ago, a man named Alex Rivera broke into the farmhouse. He filmed himself reading the 4th entry aloud. 3 days later, they found him. Heart attack, just like Michael, just like Sarah. But here's what the police report won't say. The ink in that diary, carbon dated to 1963, which means Eleanor Gray wrote Alex's name 60 years before he was born. And last night, I heard footsteps outside my door, a knock, and when I opened it, there it was. A page on my doorstep. My name, tonight's date. So I'll ask you, do you believe in curses, or are you brave enough to keep listening? To understand the diary's curse, we must start with Eleanor Gray, a reclusive librarian in Blackwood, 1963. Neighbors called her the woman who never aged, but behind closed doors she was writing, and the faceless man was listening. The first entry was dated January 12, 1963. A single name, Michael Carter, a mechanic with no enemies, no debts, just a man who'd wandered into Eleanor's library one rainy afternoon and left with a secret. 30 days later, Michael was found dead in his garage, tools scattered, lights flickering. The coroner ruled it a heart attack, but Eleanor's diary told a different story. The faceless man demands payment, a life for a secret. Michael's silence bought him days. What secret? The diary doesn't say, but Michael's widow claimed he'd been muttering in his sleep. He kept saying, "I shouldn't have read it." Read what? The police dismissed her until they found the photo. A Polaroid tucked inside the diary. Michael, pale and wide-eyed, standing in Eleanor's library. Behind him, a shadow, tall, featureless, leaning over his shoulder, the faceless man. Eleanor vanished 2 years later. But before she did, she wrote one final entry, October 31, 1965. No name, just a date. The night she disappeared, and the night the diary went silent. Until 2023, because in 2023 the diary spoke again, and this time, it had a new name, a name that shouldn't exist, a name that ties this curse to us. Let's revisit Michael Carter's death. February 18, 1963, his garage, tools neatly hung, no signs of struggle. But the coroner's report, it's missing, ripped from the archives. All that remains? A single sentence, cardiac arrest, cause, undetermined. Eleanor's diary fills in the gaps. The faceless man demands a transaction, she wrote. A life for a secret. Michael's secret died with him, but the price was paid. What secret? Michael's widow claimed he'd been acting strangely, muttering about shadows in the library. Then 2 days before his death, he gave her a note, burned it immediately. All she remembered? 3 words. It's in the diary's next entry is even stranger. Dated February 17, 1963, the day before Michael's death. He's ready. The faceless man comes tonight. The ritual requires 3 things: a name, a secret, and a witness. A witness. The police dismissed it as madness, until they found the footprint. Size 13, no tread, no match to any shoe in Blackwood. And the strangest detail? It wasn't facing the body, it was facing the door, like someone, or something, was watching. Eleanor's final note about Michael: the faceless man never leaves. He waits, he watches, and when the diary calls, he collects. But Michael was just the first, because 2 months later, the diary wrote another name, Sarah Whitmore. and the faceless man. He was hungry again. The second name etched into the diary was Sarah Whitmore, June 7, 1964. A school teacher beloved by her students, she was known for her kindness and warmth. But that summer, darkness loomed over Blackwood. On the night of her death, the river was calm, reflecting the moonlight like glass. But beneath that surface, something stirred. Eleanor's diary warned, she didn't slip, she was pulled. Sarah's body was discovered the next morning, floating face down. The police ruled it an accident, but Eleanor's entry told a different tale. The faceless man is pleased. Sarah's voice is gone. Now he whispers louder. Witnesses reported seeing Sarah near the river the night before. She was talking to someone, or something, a shadowy figure, they said. But when they approached, she vanished into the mist. The day before her death, Sarah had received a letter. A single line, "Meet me at the river at midnight. The truth awaits." But she never made it. The diary hinted at a ritual, a sacrifice to the faceless man. The townsfolk whispered of a curse, a pact made long ago. The faceless man demands a witness, they said. And Sarah, with her kind heart, had unknowingly stepped into the trap. Eleanor's final entry about Sarah was chilling. The river is hungry, it takes what it wants, and now it wants her voice. But what did that mean? What was the faceless man truly after? As the townspeople mourned, the diary lay open, waiting for the next name. Because the faceless man was not done. He was just getting started. And soon, another entry would appear. Another life would be claimed. Eleanor Gray vanished on October 31, 1965, the same night she penned her last entry in the diary. No body, no trace, just an empty house and a chilling silence that enveloped Blackwood. The townsfolk searched for days, but all they found were whispers. The faceless man took her, they said. He demands a sacrifice. But what did that mean? What had Eleanor known that led her to write her own fate? Eleanor's last diary entry was cryptic. The faceless man needs a new voice. I fear I am next. But she left no clues, no names, just a date. The same date that would haunt the town for decades. The police dismissed her disappearance as a simple case of a woman wanting to escape. But those who knew her understood the truth. Eleanor was not just a librarian, she was a keeper of secrets, a scribe for the faceless man. Rumors spread that Eleanor had made a pact, a deal with the faceless man to protect the town from his wrath. But at what cost? The diary was her tether to the world, and once she severed that bond, she was lost. The last known sighting of Eleanor was at the river, the same place where Sarah met her fate. Witnesses claimed they saw her standing at the water's edge, speaking to a shadow that seemed to grow larger, darker, until it swallowed her whole. And so, the diary lay dormant, waiting for the next name to be written. Because the faceless man was not done, he was merely biding his time, and soon another entry would appear. Another life would be claimed. Fast forward to 2023, a new name emerges, Alex Rivera. An urban explorer with a penchant for the paranormal, he stumbled upon the same abandoned farmhouse that had claimed Eleanor Gray. Alex had heard the stories, the whispers of the faceless man, the cursed diary. But like many, he dismissed them as mere folklore. That is, until he found the diary itself, hidden beneath the floorboards. He filmed his discovery, the camera capturing every detail. The leather-bound cover, the bloodstains, the entries that foretold death. But it was the fourth entry that would seal his fate. Alex Rivera, October 31, 2023. The ink was fresh, yet the diary was decades old. How could it predict his name? How could it know? 3 days after reading the fourth entry aloud, Alex was found in his apartment. The cause? A heart attack, just like Michael Carter, just like Sarah Whitmore. But the police report held no answers, only questions. Friends and family were left in shock. He was healthy, they said. He was just filming a video. But what they didn't know was that the diary had a mind of its own. It was a living entity, feeding off fear and despair. The day after his death, a new entry appeared in the diary. The faceless man has claimed another. But the cycle continues. Who will be next? The townsfolk began to whisper again, their fears rekindled. Alex Rivera's story is a chilling reminder that the past is never truly buried. The faceless man is always watching, always waiting. And now, the diary is hungry for more names, more lives. With Alex Rivera's death, the town of Blackwood was thrown into chaos. Fear gripped the community as whispers of the faceless man resurfaced. But for me, it was personal. I had to know the truth. Eleanor's niece Clara reached out to me. She had a key, one that unlocked a box in the attic of the old farmhouse. "You need to see this," she said, her voice trembling. "It's about the diary and the faceless man." Inside the box, I found photographs, letters, and a warning. The faceless man isn't done. He's watching. He's waiting. The urgency in Clara's voice echoed in my mind as I sifted through the contents. Among the photographs was a faded image of Eleanor standing by the river, her expression haunting. Behind her, a shadow loomed, tall and featureless. The same shadow that had haunted Michael and Sarah. I felt a chill run down my spine. The diary was not just a record of deaths, it was a map of despair, a guide for the faceless man. And now, it was my turn to uncover the truth before it was too late. Last night, I heard footsteps echoing in my hallway, a soft knock at my door. My heart raced as I approached, the diary clutched tightly in my hands. I knew what it meant. I knew the danger. When I opened the door, there was nothing, just the cold, empty air. But on my doorstep lay a new entry from the diary, fresh ink glistening in the moonlight. I picked it up, my hands trembling. The words were clear. Michael, October 31st, 2023. My breath caught in my throat. How could this be? The diary had written my name, and tonight's date. I felt the weight of the faceless man's gaze upon me. The diary was not just a record, it was a curse. And now, I had to make a choice, confront the darkness or become its next victim. Check the description below. If this channel goes silent, you'll know why.